Could you tell us something about the project and introduce yourself, please?
My name is Anthony Wonke. I'm the co-director of Children on the Front Line. The film is about children living in Syria, and its aim really was to try to understand the conflict through, instead of the usual reportage that exists in news, we wanted to spend a longer period of time and work with and see the conflict through the eyes of the children, and to see how their lives and how they're dealing with their lives in this utter sort of chaos that was the conflict.
And what do you think is the added value of this project? I mean, there are, as you said, a lot of reportage, a lot of reports about Syria and also about children. So maybe it's a different point of view, maybe it's a different cut of your report. Was that in your opinion?
I think what we wanted to do is, we come from a documentary tradition and we're working with the current affairs department. The idea really is to, I think, give more of a dimension, more of a depth to the people that we're filming with, and to understand more about what was happening with them, where they come from, who they are, their reasons for staying, their reasons for fighting against the regime, how they would deal with the day-to-day life, the kind of small things, you know, how they would school themselves because there's no school left, and what their general kind of, you know, day-to-day existence was. And you don't really get that sense of who these individuals are, I think, as well if you have a news piece. And it's not to say that has a completely different agenda, and it does what it does brilliantly. But our task, and we were tasked by Channel 4 to get deeper and with less people but a fewer bunch of characters, and that's what we did.
And did you expect this victory?
We didn't. I mean, Marcel, who filmed it, as I said, has got very good connections and knew lots of people, and it was after several visits very frustrating. But he stumbled across this family, which was just, they were terrific, an amazing family. Both of the parents were engineers. They decided that they wanted to fight for the Free Syrian Army. The father led what is called a small katiba, which is like a kind of platoon, that would have daily battles, rooftop battles with Assad's regime's forces on the other side. So literally 100 yards from their house they would be fighting. So they were living on the front line. And it's not the clips, but there are some amazing scenes where the young girls, you know, part of what they used to do to help their father was to help him build bombs. You know, and I suppose what we wanted to show was that as a viewer in the West and in Europe, you know, that this is going on, and wanted to have a kind of empathetic connection to these people, and so that one day you realise and think, my God, that could be us. You know, these aren't militants, they aren't extremists, they aren't crazy political people. They were just a normal family, middle-class family, that felt that they wanted to fight for what they thought was right.
And did you, when you came across this project, did you feel it was going to be very impacting, very important, very successful as well?
I like doing these kind of foreign political projects, and I like working with that department at Channel 4. You embark on a project of this magnitude with this much danger. You have no idea what to expect. You pray that the people that you send out there are going to come back alive, and you hope that it has an impact. Obviously, you know, you're dealing with a very serious subject. The film has done incredibly well. It was very well received, and you know, the Marcel has fundamentally changed their lives because he's shipped them out of Syria through Turkey, and now they're living in Germany. So, you know.
So the award now is, let's say, dedicated to all the children that are on the front line.
I think it's, if anything, it is to say that there will be a whole generation of young people who will be brought up with the most vicious, horrendous conflict and mayhem. And I think that if people can understand who these people are, now that they can see, considering what the current climate is, if they see who these refugees are, I'm hoping that this film, people will look at it and go, okay, I get where you are, I get where you're coming from, who you are, what your story is, and in some ways will feel a degree of empathy and understanding that I think in otherwise they wouldn't get to see.